Order. Good evening. I now call to order the meeting of Planning and Zoning Commission for the city of Apache Junction. Today's date is December 13th. The time is 7:01. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
States of America, and the Republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Rudy?
Commissioner Barker.
Here.
Commissioner Begeman.
Here.
Commissioner Cantwell.
Here.
Vice Chairman Hanchey.
Here.
Commissioner Cross.
Here.
Commissioner Gage.
Here.
Commissioner Shanebeck.
Here,
We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman, all present.
Let's see. Do we have a motion to the approval of agenda and presentation to accept the minutes of the September 27th, 2022 regular meeting?
Mr. Chair,
So move.
Rudy, I have a motion.
Second.
And a second.
Commissioner Shanebeck.
yes,
Commissioner Gage.
Yes.
Commissioner Barker.
Yes.
Commissioner Begeman.
yes.
Commissioner Cantwell.
Yes.
Chairman Hanchey.
Yes.
Commissioner Cross.
Yes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, public hearing. All right, the following items are hearings where members of the public are given an opportunity to speak. Once recognized by the chair, please come to the podium, microphone, and give your name and address. You'll have 5 minutes. The first one that we have tonight, presentation, discussion, public hearing, consideration of the case P-22-93-PZ, a proposed rezoning of 4 parcels located at the northeast corner of Southern Avenue and Coconino Drive for general commercial B1 and industrial by plan development B-5/PD to general commercial by plan development B-1/PD and a minor general plan amendment from industrial to commercial to facilitate a lot combination.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Erica Hernandez. I'm a planner here on staff. I have a very short presentation, a very simple presentation for you tonight. This is a request by the Fraternal Order of the Eagles to rezone 4 parcels and for a minor general plan amendment to facilitate a future land split. I'm sorry, lot combination, apologies. Hey, we can see that these 4 parcels are generally located on the northeast corner of Coconino Drive and Southern Avenue. The current zoning is B1 and B5 PD, and the proposed zoning is for B1 PD. As you know, rezonings are a public process, require public input. A sign was posted at the site. Notices were sent out to property owners 300 feet around the subject site, and the case was advertised in the newspaper. There was an in-person neighborhood meeting on May 18th, and staff received comments or received 3 residents at the counter who had questions regarding the request and were generally supportive. Due to the simplicity of this request, staff recommends approval of P-22-93-PZ, subject to the conditions of approval in the staff report. As a note, this case will be heard in front of City Council on January 17th next year. The applicant also has a very short presentation, and we will both be available for comments afterwards.
Good evening. My name is Mike Reed. I'm state officer for the Fraternal Order of Eagles and also a trustee. The Eagles was put at that spot in 1984. We've been there since then. And we purchased this property about 1.5 years ago. and we are looking to expand it in so that we can use it for dining, private dining process area. And that's basically it. Any questions?
Commissioners, any questions?
There's 2 buildings or 3 buildings involved?
2 buildings.
2 buildings? Okay,
Yes.
that's what I thought. And they're literally about 1.5 feet apart.
They're 10, actually 10 foot, 11 and a half inches.
Okay. I drove by there, they looked closer than that.
Yeah, I measured them the other day, so, yeah, so, we're just looking to be able to get, because we have a lot of elderly members, and so we want to be able to have them get from one building to the other without walking through the parking lot or walking through the alleyway.
Yep.
So that's our main concern.
Okay.
Anyone else, any questions? Who's our commissioner on the phone?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
No, thanks a lot for asking. It looks pretty straightforward. I did take a look at the site, and I've got an idea what they're doing.
All right. That's
Great.
all we have for you.
Thank you, gentlemen, thank you for your time.
All right. All right. This is a public hearing, so at this time, I'll open it up to the public. Anybody from the public, would you like to speak at this time? Again, anybody from the public? Seeing or hearing none, I'm going to close out the public. We have to do finding of facts, I believe, in this one.
Yeah,
You want to do finding of facts, Darrell?
I can.
Thank you.
So, in considering a plan amendment resulting from a proposed zoning map change, zoning code text change, general plan future land use map change, or general plan text change, the following criteria shall be evaluated. 1, whether the amendment proposes a land use designation that the land use plan map does not adequately provide optional sites to accommodate.
I don't see any problem. Anybody else have any problem?
No.
All right.
Number 2, whether the amendment constitutes an overall improvement to the general plan, will not solely benefit a particular landowner or owners at a particular point in time, and is consistent with the overall intent of the 2020 to 2050 general plan.
I don't see any conflict, and I think it does, is overall intent with the plan.
Okay.
Everybody else agree?
3, whether the proposed amendment is justified by an error in the 2020 to 2050 general plan as originally adopted. Nope.
No. No.
Number 4, whether the proposed change is generally consistent with goals, objectives, and other elements of the 2020-2050 general plan.
Yeah, I think we agree. Yes, it's okay.
Good.
Number 5, whether the proposed change is justified by a change in community conditions or neighborhood characteristics since the adoption of the plan.
I
See no issues there.
don't see any issue. I believe it is in. No issues. Everybody agree? Yes.
No issues here.
Okay. Thank you.
And,
Number 6.
okay, whether the amendment will adversely impact a portion of or the entire community by, want me to read all of them?
Do we need to read all of them, or?
You can just as put in the report.
As specified in the report A through J.
I don't think it adversely impacts the area. Does everybody agree?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Agreed.
Agree. All right. Do we want to discuss any of this, or do we want to move straight to a motion?
Pretty straightforward.
I think so. I think it's pretty straightforward. Does anybody want to move for a motion?
I'll take it.
All right.
I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend to the Apache Junction City Council the approval of case P-22-93-PZ, a rezoning request by the Lost Dutchman Area Number 3850, the owner, represented by Maxwell Mercer of Projects by Trinity LLC, the applicant, for a rezoning of 4 parcels, approximately 1.49 acres from general commercial B1 and industrial by planned development B5/PD to general commercial by planned development B1 PD, and a minor general plan amendment from industrial to commercial to facilitate a lot combination subject to the following conditions, and there's 2 of them listed.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Rudy, I have a motion with a second. Can I get a roll call?
Commissioner Cross,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanebeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage,
Yes.
Commissioner Barker,
Yes.
Commissioner Begeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Cantwell,
Yes.
Chairman Hanshi.
Yes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. This case will go to council for final decision, January 17, 2023.
Thank you, Rudy. Number 6, there is no old business. Number 7, new business. 22-785, discussion and direction to staff regarding possibility not considering horse trailers with living units as RVs in RSGR and RS54 zoning as long as they are not being lived in.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, basically, the issue here is currently our zoning ordinance on any single-family residential zone property, a person can park an RV as long as they're not using it as a dwelling unit. Some of you folks who are familiar with horse properties and horse trailers and vehicles of that sort understand that there are some really nice horse trailers that also have a little living unit in them. So a lot of folks who have horse properties have these types of trailers. They don't use them as extra dwelling units. And I think, I might be mistaken, but ADOT may even classify them more as horse trailers than they do as RVs. So the suggestion has been made, there's been some confusion of whether or not to count those as an RV, your one RV allowed on the property. So the intent of this amendment would clarify that the horse trailers, as long as they're not being lived in, would not be counted as an RV. So you could have a travel trailer or a motorhome or something like that on your property in addition to your horse trailers. It's basically to clarify that part of the code.
Would that also count like the toy haulers and all that? Because I know some of those also have living quarters.
That I did not know. But yeah, I suppose we would look at including those as well.
Yeah, because I mean, you might as well make them the
Yeah.
same because they get just as elaborate and stuff too.
Right, right.
It's just
Yeah.
it's a mechanized horse, I guess.
Right, and this proposed amendment would affect only the horse properties, the RSGR and the RS54.
Yeah.
How big are these living units on these trailers?
Generally, it's like just like for a couple. There's usually a 1-bed setup. Generally, sometimes maybe a couple, like for kids too.
Yeah, I can't imagine they're more than, what, 50 or 75 square feet?
Well, usually they got like a little kitchenette, maybe a queen bed, maybe a king, but and then like where the table is, that converts for like a bed for the kids.
I'm relying on my horse people.
But I mean, you can get creative and you can sleep some people in there because you can, like especially the car haulers and stuff, you can pull the vehicle out and then use that space.
The living unit has got to be about the size of a small travel trailer.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if, if it's worth putting a size limitation on it.
No.
Mr. Chair, these items, I think, are being brought for some limited discussion, but I think for all the details,
Yeah.
you're going to want to wait and see what's in the actual ordinance, if there's a direction staff made to bring it back.
Right.
So those little, some of those, it's fascinating stuff, but I would suggest, if you want to bring it back, just do a motion for direction to staff, and
Yeah.
it'll come back, and then you can play with it as much as you want.
Yeah.
Or we can examine those types of details as we actually get into the drafting of the text.
This is not considering, so we don't even really want to play with it, right? Is what staff is saying here, so.
Right, right.
And I would
This is
just,
just to give us direction to look into this.
yeah, and I'd say with that direction, maybe consider the car, the toy haulers and stuff with that, just because they're pretty similar.
Okay.
If you guys would agree to that as well.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, so, Rudy,
Yes, sir.
I'm a little confused. So right now, you can park one RV on your RSGR property, but not two?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, and so
On,
this'll,
on any residential property, single-family residential, if you have the room, you can park your RV there. You know, you take it camping, you go on vacation, it's your toy. As long as you're not using it as an extra dwelling unit, you can park one RV on any single-family residential property. This amendment kind of differentiates between your typical RV and the horse trailers that happen to have the living unit in them.
okay. So you can't park two RVs, but you can park one RV and the horse trailer for the living unit.
Only on horse property, right, right.
Okay, thanks.
On the other properties, Rudy, when they have like a toy hauler, what's the code for that?
Well, new information, I didn't know that the toy haulers also had living units.
Not all of
That would,
them
I
do.
guess,
My sandrail had a small apartment in front of it when I was racing in the dunes.
that would count as your one RV on properties not zoned for horses.
I think we should include that. It's no different than a horse trailer on horse property.
That's what I was saying.
I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. You would include,
If we're gonna exclude horse trailers as RVs on horse property,
yes,
can we exclude toy haulers that have living quarters in the trailer, their utility trailers, as well on other zone properties?
well, that's for the commission and the council to debate. If you would like to make your motion in that respect, you certainly can do so.
And what about semi-trucks? They have a
Semi-trucks
sleeper
are
on their
allowed to be
back.
parked on residential properties. One,
But I had a big sleeper on mine.
yeah, with or, one semi-rig cab with or without a trailer can be parked on a residential, single-family zone property.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I was asking, if we could include the toy haulers
I think
as.
toy haulers should be included in this on all zones,
Right. Oh, on all zones?
on all zones.
Oh, okay.
Because if I live where I live and I have a toy hauler, am I gonna be excluded just because I don't live in an RS or an RS or a GR? I think that's a little ridiculous, excluding those people that like to play because they don't have an acre and a quarter of property.
Mr. Chair, I'm getting very confused here. This is considering not
Right.
designating horse trailers as RVs.
Correct.
Do we designate toy haulers as RVs?
Not currently.
So they're already excluded.
Right, but we're
They're-
making
they
sure
would-
that they won't include them because they do have that RV portion in them.
But
Because they could be.
well, if somebody wrote some new code, yes, but in this particular case, they're already excluded from this, and it's not even a part of this.
Well, how is this even coming up, Rudy?
this has been an item of discussion among some of our council members.
Okay. So this.
That
we're
one
being
and the thing about the
preemptive.
fences
We
too.
know. We didn't need to ask that question.
So we're being preemptive, so if they try to, we can cut it off at the pass.
They're not gonna try to, they want this.
So for lots smaller than the RS 54, are you allowed one RV and one trailer, or just one RV or one trailer?
Trailers are not, as long as they're to the side or to the rear of a residence, people have utility trailers, people have these little trailers that they pull their boats in, their jet skis, their their quads. Those, as long as they're not parked all over your front yard, are typically allowed on a residential property.
Okay.
So they're not really part of
So this is,
the issue.
the only restriction is on RVs, and it's restricted to one RV.
Right.
Okay, now I understand it a little bit better.
So, I hate to ask
Well,
this.
yeah.
Go
The definition of an RV, is it something that has an engine in it and a motor in it?
No.
No, not necessarily.
Okay, so a fifth wheel can be an RV?
Yes, yes.
All right, so that's where the rub comes.
Well, let me ask you this, Rudy. What if we, instead of specifying it here, what if we just better define what the definition of an RV is versus what a horse trailer is versus what a toy hauler is, to where they're independent? And then it wouldn't matter what lot they're on.
I think ARS defines a recreational vehicle.
Mr. Chair, I believe that is correct. And there might be a preemption issue if you try to do that. In other words, you can't do something that's less than what the state has done, so. But once again, this is direction to staff for just the general concept of bringing this back. And then if you don't like the text, that's the time to start the detailing on it.
Yeah,
That's what I would recommend.
okay.
Okay.
So kind of explore all that and to where,
Sure.
that way, because I mean, even with the other lot designations, because an RV is an RV, a horse trailer is a horse trailer, you know, a toy hauler is a toy hauler.
Right.
To where you wouldn't, that way we don't have to sit there and specify what you're allowed to park on each one. Because, I mean, you could, I mean, just because you don't have horses on your property, you can use a horse trailer for other purposes. People do it all the time, so why would we restrict somebody from having a horse trailer, even though they're not on one of these lots, you know what I mean?
Look at this scenario. I own a horse. I live on less than a quarter of an
Right.
acre. And I board my horse
Right,
at somebody's stables for X number of dollars a month. But I have a horse trailer with living quarters in it.
right.
Where would I be able to store that? Because I can't store it at the stables because it's licensed to me. So would I be able to have it at my house?
Yes.
As
And-
long as it's not parked in the front of the house.
Right, right. And actually, if you are boarding your theoretical horse at a licensed horse boarding facility, I believe our equine regulations do allow folks to park their horse trailers at licensed horse boarding facilities.
Okay.
If the facility offers that
Right.
amenity.
Right.
Yeah,
But theoretically, we could have somebody who has a horse boarded that they're not in either one of these, and they could have a horse trailer with these type of facilities and an RV, and they're not in either one of these two.
yeah.
So then, you see where I'm saying we could have gray areas with this whole thing, and that's why I'm saying if we kind of, in the direction of staff, not just look at these two, look at all lots.
Okay,
You see what I'm saying?
yes.
Because we could run into these gray areas, and that's why I'm saying if we just better define everything in the direction of staff.
Okay,
Not so much just focus on these two types of lots. Let's look at defining what an RV is, what a horse trailer with these living quarters in, toy haulers, everything.
okay.
I think that would kind of better encompass what we're after.
And based on some of the other discussion, I think one of the key points there is what is the state classifying it as?
Right.
If the state classifies it as an RV, then it falls into the RV category. If the state classifies it as a trailer, then it's a trailer.
Right.
That, to me, seems to be the distinction, and it doesn't sound like the state, even if you have a small living area on either a horse trailer or a toy carrier, that those are defined as trailers rather than as RVs.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So we'd want to follow
Yeah,
state
we-
regs.
Yes, we would definitely look at the state definition and use that as guidance, if not outright language into our code.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't have to worry about all our lots, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we do, then we'll go down that direction, so. Okay. Next one, 20,
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
oh, do we do,
and did you want to ask Mr. Shanebeck if he has
oh, yeah,
any comments?
yeah. Mr. Shanebeck, would you like any input?
I'll hold off and
Say that again?
I'll hold off on any comments till it comes back up at another meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So now we need a direction to staff.
Okay, so the direction of staff is, do I have to put it in a motion form, or?
Yes, I think it
Okay.
needs to be kind of clear on what you are directing staff to come up with, to come back with.
So do we have a motion?
I am unclear as to what you actually want.
Okay,
So making the motion would be very difficult for me.
okay. Well, then let's discuss.
Well,
I think what we want is to have our definitions, make sure they're clear with what the state definitions are for these three types.
okay, 3 types,
Yeah, the
trailer,
RV, horse trailer with the living quarters.
okay.
Well, horse trailers are licensed as a horse trailer.
With the living quarters.
Even with the living
Well, we want to
quarters,
make sure.
they're licensed as a horse trailer.
I believe they are too, but we want to make sure
The toy haulers
with the living quarters.
with the living quarters are still licensed as a utility trailer,
And we just want to double check.
so having had
How
both.
about any trailer with living quarters included in it, in your motion, which gives them the opportunity to explore it all?
Right. But specifically those three.
Well,
Okay,
if we
so,
list any trailer like that, then we'd be including those pull-along camp trailers. And
okay,
the way the state looks at it, I believe, is that if the primary purpose of the trailer is to haul horses or to haul toys, that's what it's licensed as. If the primary purpose is for a camping unit, then that's what that's classified as, a recreational vehicle, or somebody's $120,000 motorhome, that would be an RV. But that's the primary purpose of it.
Well, that's what we want staff to make sure and find out.
okay, so the motion, basically, if I understand this correctly, is twofold. First of all, clarify the state's definition of each of these 3 types of trailers. And secondly, to look at the possibilities of where these trailers can be parked if they are not lived in versus having them lived in.
Right. Do we have to specify just these two, or do we need to go for more lot or more zone types?
Well, I thought that kind of was open-ended,
Yeah.
where
You're
would
right.
they be parked?
Yeah. Yes,
So that would be my motion.
I agree.
Anyone want to second
Second,
I'm sorry, who's?
I'll second that one.
Okay, all right.
We have a motion, a second. Can we get a vote?
Commissioner Cantwell,
Yes.
Chairman Hanshi.
Yes.
Commissioner Cross,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanebeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage,
Yes.
Commissioner Barker,
it? Yes.
Commissioner Begeman.
Yes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, so hopefully we get through these other two better.
Mr. Chairman, the next item has to do with fences and fencing materials. Right now, our code talks about fence heights, it talks about setbacks for fences of a certain height. It also talks about types of allowed fence materials and types of prohibited fence materials. The suggestion has been made to perhaps better define what we mean by certain types of fence materials, and also possibly to allow certain types of fence materials that are currently not allowed, as long as they are integrated into a particular, well, not a particular, but as long as they are nicely integrated into a designed fence, and as long as fences are kept up maintained, kept painted, they're not falling apart. So the issue has to do more with aesthetics, not so much fence material types. Now, of course, we would still limit the use of concertina wire and electric wire and things like that, but there has been a lot of confusion about what's allowed fencing material, what's not allowed. And the thing that really kind of brought this all to a head was, what exactly is corrugated metal? Well, most of us probably think of corrugated metal as that material that's wavy like this and you see on a tin roof. But in fact, corrugated metal could also be that thick steel that's more the square type of material that you see used in gates a lot. You see it building, the building down on Idaho, the big red barn. That is a type of corrugated metal, but it's not the wavy one. So anyway, clarifying those types of issues, and also clarifying perhaps some aesthetic standards for fences in general.
You wrote the motion. Good.
I suggest we ask staff to take a look at that.
Yeah, it's a good
Okay.
idea. I'll second that.
I can move,
And-
I
and
can
we're-
move this very, very clearly. I
I
wrote
think
it
Dirk
down.
just did.
I think they're,
Okay,
I have a motion, I have a second.
and we're done.
Gotta get a,
I move that we have staff take a look at that.
I'll second that.
Is that enough direction for you?
Yes,
Well-
sir.
Well, actually, no. I don't think it is. He said, take a look at that. Can you explain what that means?
I move that we ask the staff to take a look at the allowable types and the disallowable types of building materials allowed for fencing.
May I amend that
Certainly.
to add to it that they look at the possibility of adding new materials for fencing and as well, that will integrate well and be well maintained, as well as the expected aesthetics of fencing.
I accept that.
Okay.
do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Begeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Cantwell,
Yes.
Chairman Hanchey,
Yes.
Commissioner Cross,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanebeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage,
Yes.
Commissioner Barker.
Yes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, the next one,
The next one, Mr. Chairman, is an item you've discussed quite a bit, and that is currently our code does not have a minimum parking requirement for multifamily. You have asked us to look into perhaps coming up with a guest parking requirement similar to, well, not necessarily similar, but for example, we have guest parking requirements for mobile home parks. We have guest parking requirements for single family, for commercial uses, but we don't have a guest parking requirement for multifamily. So this direction, if you so give it, would be for staff to come back with some recommendations for you on guest parking in multifamily developments, which would include townhome developments.
yes. Robin, would you like to give a motion on that one?
Sure, I move that staff come back to us with recommendations for guest parking for multifamily developments as well as townhouses.
Thank you. Do I have a
Second.
Commissioner Barker,
Yes.
Commissioner Begeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Cantwell,
Yes.
Chairman Hanchey,
Yes.
Commissioner Cross,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanebeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage.
Yes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Information reports.
None this evening, Mr. Chairman, other than everybody have a wonderful Christmas and a safe and happy New Year.
All right. Actually, yes. Actually, Rudy, you skipped ahead to director's report.
Oh,
That's
nothing
okay.
this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Say what?
Nothing this evening.
Okay, I was gonna ask, information report, I was gonna, if the commissioners had anything to put out. And,
I have a request for a future agenda item.
okay,
I would like to have somebody from the water district come in and talk to us about the water situation. We're making a lot of decisions about new development, et cetera, and I would like to hear from them on how they feel about that.
Just the water district or can we, maybe Arizona water too?
You can do them both, yes.
Okay.
I think that would be a great idea. I think we need to be better informed.
Yeah, that we have the capacity.
You mean you don't want to rely on social media?
Yeah, right. No, not this
We will
time.
work on that.
I'm more interested in the water board right now.
This is your last meeting. isn't it?
Are we gonna have a meeting on the
No.
27th?
No,
We don't have any scheduled items at this time, Mr. Commissioner, so I seriously doubt it.
No, and we were joking about it because it's like 2 days after Christmas.
Right, so, I'd like to bid everybody a farewell, and it's been a pleasure serving on this commission with everyone. I really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
so,
It's been our pleasure too.
thank you.
Good luck
Yeah.
with the upgrade.
Yeah.
We'll give them,
and come back later and tell us how much of an upgrade you actually think that was.
Good luck on the dark side.
very good.
That's why I said.
And I did hear that they, the second half of the development over there got withdrawn, I heard.
Yes. Yeah, one of their lenders pulled out, and that was that. They're gonna build the first phase, but they're not gonna build the second phase, at least not at this time.
That's the Keystone?
Yes.
Yes.
So, did any of the other ones around town cancel at this point?
No, there's been some delays, but no one else has withdrawn. Is that correct, Sydney?
All right. Wonderful. All right. Well, good luck over there.
So when will the next scheduled meeting be? Do we need to close this out with a selection of meeting dates, is basically the question.
The next meeting, I believe, is January 10th? Okay, yeah, January 10th.
So do we want to
Should we
switch
change
that?
the motion to January 10th?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, you can do that.
There you go.
Go for it.
Okay, I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission hold a regular meeting on January 10th, 2023 at 7 PM in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard. In the event there are no items to be brought forward to the commission, these meetings may be canceled, notification of cancellation properly posted, the commission notified by staff.
Second.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry, were you going to? I didn't think you could.
No, go ahead. No, we're good. He's second.
yeah.
Life is wonderful.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, I was gonna let him second the last one.
Chairman Hanchey,
Yes.
Commissioner Cross,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanebeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage,
Yes.
Commissioner Barker. Commissioner Begeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Cantwell.
Yes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rudy. I now adjourn the meeting at 7:41.
Good luck to you.